It won't be easy, but the Florida Gators can indeed upset the Georgia Bulldogs tomorrow.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Friday for a second time. I am Brandon Olsen. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators with swampsignal.substack.com. We talked about recruits that Florida needs to retain with a new coaching staff. This episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. And first off, for the Florida Gators to beat the Georgia Bulldogs tomorrow or today, if you're listening to this before the game, let me throw some numbers at you, right? And then I'll explain why they're significant when you put them all together, because that's also important to acknowledge. Numbers individually don't mean a damn thing. You could say, oh, they have this many passing yards. It doesn't matter if you don't put context as to why they have it. So we're going to put some context here. For Georgia, they allow 61% completion percentage, which is the sixth highest in the SEC. 6.8 yards per attempt, which is the sixth highest in the SEC. A passer rating of 127.82, seventh highest in the SEC. They are third percentile havoc rate and 0th percentile third down distance. What those numbers mean combined, because like I said, it's all about putting those numbers together. Sixth in the SEC, sixth in the SEC, seventh in the SEC. Not bad individually, but when you do compile those together, well, it doesn't paint a pretty picture, right? They allow a lot of passes to be completed, decent yards gained every time. That leads to a higher passer rating, right? It does. Your passer rating takes your completion percentage, your yards, your touchdowns, your interceptions. High passer rating means they're not getting a lot of interceptions because, well, they're not. Allowing a decent amount of touchdowns, not a lot of touchdowns, but a decent amount of touchdowns in the air. And the completion percentage, that matters, especially when you talk about what Billy Napier or what Billy Gonzales. Wow, that's gonna take a while to get that out of the vocabulary there. Billy Gonzales has stressed getting DJ Lagway's completion percentage higher, which again, it's not bad. It's really not, but could be better. And it's not considered a high rating. I think it's just high comparatively to what we've seen from DJ Lagway previously. But when you take all those numbers, not awful, but again, when you combine them, they're not great. But they do tell you that Georgia allows a lot of completed passes. Most of them are underneath. Because when you do have a high completion percentage and not a very high yards per attempt, that usually tells you, hey, we're allowing these completions a few yards after the catch. Georgia's allowed quite a few yards after the catch lately. You go to the Ole Miss game, which was their last game prior to the bye week. Ole Miss had 263 receiving yards. Okay. 199 of them came after the catch, which means that Ole Miss had 10.5 yards after the catch per catch, which is a lot. Just want to throw that out there. That's a lot. If you pick up a first down after the catch on average, that's a lot. They also had 13.8 yards per catch. Kentucky had 220 receiving yards versus Georgia. 169 of them came after the catch. That's 7 yards after the catch per catch out of 9 yards per catch. Alabama had 280 receiving yards against Georgia. 180 of them after the catch. That's 7.2 yards after the catch per catch out of 11.2 yards per catch, which, by the way, just for those of you keeping track or trying to keep track, that means that Ole Miss would have on average 3.3 yards per catch, and then before yards after the catch. Their average depth of completion was 3.3 yards. Kentucky, average depth of completion was 2 yards. Alabama, average depth of completion was 4 yards. and then the rest of it was after the catch. That's a lot of yards after the catch per catch. Part of that is due to Georgia's secondary playing off, which many Florida Gators fans complain about our own secondary doing that. Georgia, I think, does it maybe a little bit more egregiously. Part of that is guys having plenty of space after the catch to run because your secondary is playing off. Take a couple steps back, you throw a hitch, and by the time you even finish your drop back as a DB, or the time you finish your read step as a DB, guy's got the ball. Now he's running. Now you got to come up and make a play. Part of that is the secondary not being the best in open field tackles. I do think that open field tackles are incredibly difficult. I don't think people get enough credit for when they do make them. But for Florida now, they need to get the quick game going. And that's something that I've spoken about before this week, is that with Billy Gonzales, I do expect this offense to really hammer home the quick game. I wrote about it on Wednesday on Swamp Signal. Get the quick game going is going to be important, right? They've mentioned wanting to spread out the formation. You're going to see that. I don't know how much, considering you don't have Aiden Mizell or Vernell Brown III. But they're going to spread out the formation. They're going to go quick hitters and try to get yards after the catch. It's going to be a big focal point of the game. I don't know that factually, but I feel pretty confident in saying that. So I do think that Florida is going to try to get DJ Lagway in a rhythm with easy completions early that have explosive play potential. Like, I know that a lot of fans are going to hate me saying this, but go the air raid route if you have to, and just go, okay, if they're playing off coverage, we're throwing a quick screen or we're throwing a hitch real quick. Go. Simple as that. Quick slant, go. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that hate this, like this quick underneath game. I don't know why. It's incredibly efficient. It's an extension of the run game. It works. I expect Florida to do that a lot, especially considering where Billy Gonzales or who Billy Gonzales has coached under before, right? At Florida, Urban Meyer, Dan Mullen. Like that, those guys were incredible at getting the ball to receivers underneath quick and let them run. They were great at creating explosive plays as well, but they were great at just the high efficiency offense. They killed that. I'm hoping to see a lot of RPO. I really am. Just put a quick tag and say, hey, if they're playing off, you're looking for that. If they're giving you a light box, you're looking for the handoff. Like, just handle the quick game. And I do think it's important because, one, also they have explosive play potential, right? Dallas Wilson, we've seen create explosive plays better than anybody else in this Florida Gators receiver room, really, including Vernell Brown and Aiden Mizell on a more consistent basis. Dallas Wilson has done it more than anybody else. I'm excited to see someone like, I said it earlier this week, like TJ Abrams, Tank Hawkins. Like, I want to see them on offense. They're fast as hell. I think that you're going to have space. Put them on the field, just get a quick hitter and let the fast guys run. It's as simple as that sometimes. Like I know that it's easier said than done, but it really is as simple conceptually as let the fast guy run. They don't need to be fast and running downfield and get open downfield for those completions. You could throw some quick short underneath and let them run at that point. Like it's easy in that sense. So explosive play potential, easy completions, also keeps you in second and third or third and three, or second and three or third and three. Keeps your playbook completely open if you want to run the football. But also earlier I mentioned Georgia, 3rd percentile havoc rating. That's tackles for a loss, sacks. They're not good at that this year at all. 3rd percentile is bad, awful. Okay? That means that they're only like that. That means basically 97% of the country is better than them at havoc rate. Okay? 0th percentile average third down distance is how how far the average third down is against Georgia, which is about, I think it's like 5 yards. Very manageable for an average third down situation. That's very manageable. Just for comparison's sake, Florida's 52nd with 7 yards. It's defensive third down distance allowed. 3rd and 5 is manageable. It is. It's not ideal, right? But it's manageable. And that being your average means that you're going to have quite a few opportunities better than that you need to capitalize on. We're going to talk about the Florida Gators defense when we get back with this episode of Locked On Gators. This episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, but it's about redefining it. And there are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and they keep moving the game forward. And on this morning's episode, if you're listening to this on Friday, we had an episode with Leaf Tulane of Locked On Wildcats to preview the basketball game. I said that I'm giving it to LSU Governor Landry. I don't know his first name. But I'm giving it to LSU Governor Landry because I think he's done a fantastic job of making that job not nearly as attractive as it usually is. And that benefits not just Florida. It benefits other teams in the SEC. It benefits a lot of teams that LSU might be in a difficult spot hiring-wise. They'll still have money. They'll still have the allure, but I wouldn't want to take a job where politicians are all of a sudden making an impact on what I do with my job. I would hate that. I'm just saying. Thanks, Landry. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free with us in the podcast and on YouTube. Also, by the way, if you haven't checked it out yet, we did have a crossover on Friday morning with Leaf Tulane of Locked On Wildcats to talk about the game on Monday night at 7 Eastern time. We will be going live immediately after that game. We will also be going live immediately after the cocktail party. And the next thing for the Florida Gators to beat Georgia, make Gunnar Stockton beat you with his arm. And I know that that comes off as a knock. It's not meant to be a knock. Hear me out. Okay. Gunnar Stockton throws screens on 22.7% of his dropbacks. That's the 6th highest percent by a starter in college football. And yeah, that number's probably dropped a little bit since early in the season because there was, I forgot which game it was, but I think they threw screens on like 80% of their passes. It was ridiculous. But that number has dropped. It's still a high number. Like you watch any Georgia game, you can look at my tweets and I'll go, oh my, like they paid Zachariah Branch how much money to be bubble screen simulator? Like that's what he does. The Gators need to come up and make stops on those screens. Like teams run screens because they're easy completions in space where corners are typically pretty bad at tackling, and you can create explosive plays off of them. You cannot let a guy like Zachariah Branch get loose on you. Like Zachariah Branch is an athlete, and he will outrun anybody. You get him a head of steam, and you got to turn as a corner. It's tough. Like there have been times I've told stories before, but like I used to play not at a high level ever. I'm not going to pretend I was ever, amazing. But you're on that field and there's someone that's faster than you and you're like, oh, they're kind of even with me. Now I got to turn. I'm losing this race. That's Zachariah Branch with basically anybody. He's one of the fastest guys in college football. It's tough if he gets in space against you. Gunnar Stockton gets those easy completions with screens. Take those screens away or make them ineffective. Like if you want to throw screens and Florida's coming up and making those tackles for, a gain of 2 or 3 or shorter, that's not what Georgia wants from screens. Georgia wants to treat them like a run where they want at least 4 yards a pop. So if you can force them into a, screen on first down, get them 2nd and 8, that's a good spot for Florida. Okay. If you can do that, that's great. Gunnar Stockton does a great job of keeping the offense on schedule and on task. And he really does. Like he does his job. And I know that people can talk about, oh yeah, he throws a lot of screens. It's easy to do that. He doesn't make many mistakes. All right. He really doesn't. The thing that worries me with Florida is that when defenses knock Gunnar Stockton off schedule, which they will do at some point, he's been dominant. Like he's been incredible with his ability to extend plays with his legs. Like you get pressure on him, you've got to finish those plays. Look at the amount of times that Arch Manning broke free and the opportunities that Marcel Reed he had, whether or not he took them or not. Opportunities were there. And that's college football, right? Like every fan of every team will tell you, yeah, we struggle with mobile quarterbacks. Mobile quarterbacks give us an issue. They're really, and I've said this before, like they're really difficult to defend. That's the point of them. Like that's why they're so difficult to defend, because you have to respect the throw and you have to respect the run. It's really tough. It is. Gunnar Stockton, he does I think one of his more I'll say one of his more NFL traits is, or one of his more NFL-like traits is when he extends those plays, like he's still looking for someone downfield. That makes it really tough as a DB. It does. Like you could be the best corner on the planet. You're covering someone for like 5 seconds tops. Absolute tops. It's not easy. And so when you get pressure on Gunnar Stockton, you've got to finish the play. Because, and look, Florida hasn't been great at generating pressure this year, right? Like they've got, I think it's like 90 pressures this year. A third of those came in the Texas game. They haven't been great at generating pressure this year. You will generate pressure against Georgia. As long as you stop the run a bit, you will generate pressure against Georgia. You've got to finish those plays, though. You really do. Gunnar is one of the best in the country at using his legs to buy time to attack a defense, clean up those screens, make him play just outright quarterback against you, and you've got a better chance. And like I've talked before about one of the most impressive traits that a quarterback can have, and a trait that quarterbacks need to have now in order to be great, is your ability to, when pressure comes in, extend a play. DJ Lagway has started doing a great job of it once he's gotten healthy. Graham Mertz was terrible at it, and that's why many people would blame the offensive line. Realistically, the offensive line every year under Billy Napier generated kind of the same number of pressures, but everyone thinks that the Graham Mertz full season starting was the worst offensive line because Graham got sacked a lot. AR got pressured a lot. He used his legs to extend plays. Graham Mertz got pressured a lot. He didn't have the ability to extend plays. DJ Lagway got pressured a lot last year when he started. He made people miss. He extended plays. This year, DJ Lagway's been pressured a lot. Early on, he was not doing a good job of extending plays. In the past couple of games, you've seen him start to straight up brush off defenders, like even defensive linemen. They get a hand on him and he brushes them off. Like you've started to see that come back. One of the most underrated traits from the everyday fan is the ability to extend plays with your legs. If you can extend plays with your legs and still look for the pass, that makes you dangerous. That makes Gunnar Stockton really dangerous. I want you to make him beat you from the pocket with his arm. Simple as that. He's going to throw screens. He's going to complete those passes. You got to come up and make those stops. Clean them up. He's going to extend plays, or he's going to try to extend plays. You got to clean him up in the backfield. Simple as that. Like evading sacks is one of the hardest things to do. He can do it. You got to make him stay in the pocket. And look, he's capable of picking you apart from the pocket. He is. I think Gunnar Stockton's a good quarterback. He's capable of picking you apart from the pocket. Okay? But that's the more difficult way for Georgia's offense to work. Georgia's offense, Gunnar Stockton does a good job of keeping them on schedule, but when they get off schedule, he makes up for everything. You need to figure out, because that's what defense is, figuring out the most difficult way for the opposing team to generate sustainable offense. And for Georgia, the most difficult way is defending the run. Make Gunnar Stockton beat you from the pocket. You do that, and that's the most difficult way for them to sustain an offense. That's how you attack him. Because he's going to use his legs. He's going to be a weapon on the RPO game. Limit him in every way possible. That's how you do it. We will be back to talk about what the Florida Gators also need to do, which is something that they've done an inconsistent job of, I'll say, when we get back with Locked On Gators. It is the weekend. It's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered more when it mattered most. So we're going to break it down. And again, I'm not talking about a player this time. I'm talking about Louisiana Governor Landry. Because again, I think he's doing a stellar job. I don't know if he just got elected or what their elections are like, but he's doing a stellar job there. Okay, he is completely sabotaging that team. It was very bold to call out the agents that represent so many of the ADs and the coaches when, well, that agent represents a lot of the SEC. Bold to call him out, represents a lot of coaches that are going to be in the SEC. Bold approach. Bold approach, Governor Landry. You make LSU less enticing, and I thank you for that. So just like Louisiana Governor Landry delivered for the Florida Gators, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash streaks, you save every Saturday that you order. You stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply, promo period through November 18th. And also, the NBA season is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So even if you miss the start of a game, or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine bets or combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Or if your team sucks, you could at least be like, all right, like if you're a Suns fan, bet on Devin Booker, points, Royce O'Neal, rebounds, maybe. I don't know. Just you got to find something to get through those games. I don't know what to tell you. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. And this is one that I've spoken about quite a few times with the Florida Gators, and they've done an incredibly inconsistent job of it. It is genuinely impressive how inconsistent Florida has been with penalties. Again, like I think that it's incredible to watch them sometimes play very clean football and sometimes not at all. Like you look at some of the games that they've played, like I know that people are going to hate me bringing up this one, but like Long Island, no penalties, right? And then the next week against USF, 11 penalties. Over the course of the season, again, excluding that Long Island game, I don't count the Long Island game because I don't count FCS games. I think that's silly. So I don't usually count it for most stats. I don't remove it from like passing yards and stuff. Just I'm not doing that math. But outside of that, in the FBS games, Florida has had 7.7 penalties per game for 61.9 yards. Okay, that's not great, especially like sure, some games they've had 3 or 4. I think Miami was 3. USF was 11. LSU was 7. Texas was 7. Texas A&M was 6. Mississippi State was 7. They've pretty consistently been in that 6-7 range. I'm not doing it. I'm a grown man. I'm not doing it just because I said 6-7 range. Okay. But if you have a kid in the car, 6-7, I'll do it. Okay. If you hate me for that, it's fine. You can't hate me more than I hate me. Georgia has 6.4 penalties per game, but just 47.7 yards. And I do think that can play a legitimate difference because, again, like pay attention to the numbers there. It's not just the frequency, right? Florida, 1.3 more penalties per game, 15 more yards per game. That adds up over time, right? Especially if you get one of those penalties that's like, all right, well, it's an automatic first down. Like that could be a killer. This is a game where you can't put yourself in that spot. Georgia, like I mentioned earlier, and I do think that penalties really play a part in this because Florida's offensive penalties have been killer for them. Georgia on third down has a 0th percentile average yard to gain, right? On defense, which means that on average, Georgia's one of the worst teams in the entire country in terms of the average distance to get a first down on third down against them. For that reason, Georgia's allowing conversions on 41.7% of third downs. Okay. That is the third worst in the SEC. Florida cannot afford to shoot themselves in the foot, which they do constantly. They love doing that. But Florida cannot afford to shoot themselves in the foot constantly and put themselves into bad situations on third down. Like a false start on first down puts you in bad position for third down, right? Typically on first down, you go, all right, we want to pick up 4 yards. On second down, we want to pick up at least 3. You want to pick up, like 40% of the average distance needed. Then you want to pick up another, 50% of the average distance needed, and then you get yourself into the third and manageable. Georgia, on average, allows third and manageable situations. Okay, 3rd and 5 isn't necessarily easy, but it's manageable. Like if you're in a 3rd and 5 on the other end of the field, like if you're 3rd and 5 in Georgia territory, then you can play that and say, hey, if we can get 3 yards here, we're in position to go for this. Like you can manage that where you don't convert on third down, but if you don't convert on third down because you're playing for 4th down and you convert on 4th down, like I don't care if you convert just to make a number simple. Like if you're I don't know, 4 for 10 on third down, like no one's happy with 40%, right? But if you're 4 for 10 on third down, but you're 2 for 2 on 4th down, you're basically 6 for 10 on third down. And I think a lot of people would be happy for 60%, right? Like if you're playing for 4th downs and converting that matters. It's not as simple as a third down conversion percentage, because if you're going for it on 4th and you get it, that's really helpful for you. So I do think that Georgia has a tendency to allow opposing offenses to get themselves in good position. Florida has a tendency to keep themselves out of good position. And a lot of that comes down to penalties, whether that's holding, false start, whatever other insane penalty you want to see this team get. They're probably going to get at some point throughout the season. Georgia makes it manageable. Florida makes it unmanageable. Don't make it unmanageable, because Georgia's going to let you get to third and a solid distance. You can't shoot yourself in the foot and take it out of it. Like if you get a 1st and 20, that stuff irritates me. Right? Getting in 1st and 20 drives me nuts. It's ridiculous to see, because you're automatically putting yourself behind an 8 ball. And honestly, at that point, there's a higher likelihood that you punt than convert. You're putting yourself in awful positioning there. Florida's done it all year. Keep yourself out of awful positioning. Keep yourself in winning position and win some damn football games. You can win this game. You can genuinely win any game on your schedule. You've got the talent. We'll see what coaching does, but we know that the guy that was mostly holding them back, or the guy that we think was mostly holding them back, is gone. Time to win. That's it. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free both in the podcast and on YouTube. And hell, for the past couple weeks, 2 times a day sometimes. It's fun. We'll be back tomorrow immediately following the cocktail party. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators with swampcitadel.substack.com, and I will see you all next time.